Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you somebody decided to break the law because, oh no, their software might have been getting downloaded? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know some of y'all come to this channel for some virus investigations. And you know, I got a virus for you today. Now, the definition of malware, okay, is malware is any software intentionally designed to cause disruption to a computer, server, client, or computer network. Leak private information, gain unauthorized access. Yeah, you know, things that are highly illegal, by the way, too. Now, of course, I could jump into this and talk about the illegality, but I don't think it's too far yet. Now, when it comes to really cringy things from game developers and modding communities, remember back when we looked at Sonic Gather Battle? Oh no, my sprites, my recolors are getting stolen. Better inject malware. Yeah, we got another situation here. So anybody that plays Final Fantasy XIV probably knows that some software, in particular G-Shade, just got caught infecting their users' computers with malware. A little present, if you will, because one of the developers was afraid that their beautiful, lovely shaders might be getting stolen. Now, for anybody that knows about, computer graphics, do you like good graphics? Okay, do you like really good graphics? Do you have computer hardware to spare when you're playing video games? Chances are, if you're a PC gamer, you've probably downloaded programs like Reshade. I use Reshade all the time for single-player games, okay? So if I know that I've got, 500 frames rendering on a video game, and I'm like, dang, I could make this look better. I could put in some ray tracing, some post-processing. Maybe the anti-aliasing is crap. Well, using tools like Reshade, I can download it from their website, inject it into the game of my choice, and using a keyboard command, I can open up a little prompt that'll let me inject any type of post-processing tool that I want. Again, anti-aliasing, I can make it better. Ambient occlusion, make it better. Ray tracing, I can put it in somehow into the game. It's not going to be perfect, but it's there. This is a tool that a lot of PC gamers use to just make games look better, okay? Remastering old games, you can kind of do it through Reshade. You know all those YouTube videos of GTA 5 Maximum Graphics 2023 Edition 4K? Yeah, a lot of them, beyond having Los Santos tsunami mods, actually use Reshade in order to create better looking visuals with modern hardware. If you've got the hardware to spare, then you might as well be using it to make your games look better. So Final Fantasy XIV being an MMO, obviously it's MMO games typically don't have high graphical outputs or really high computer requirements. So if you've got stuff to spare, you can make the game look better and genuinely get a sweet experience out of it. But of course, that requires you to download a tool. Now, me personally, I only use Reshade. Why? Because Reshade is open source, ladies and gentlemen, meaning that I and various other people who know what they're talking about, who know what to look for, can audit the code from time to time and make sure they're not installing anything weird, okay? Simple as that, all right? Generally, stuff gets input into open source programs that is malicious, but because we can see the code, you can obviously identify if something's a little sussy-wussy. With a closed source program like G-Shade, it's very difficult to do that because you don't have the ability to look through the code. You can decompile, you can do a bunch of different, things, but generally, you're literally installing proprietary stuff on your computer. So there's a level of trust involved, especially when it's ingesting itself into programs or getting a deeper access to your computer. So what is the code? Using a decompiler, a .NET decompiler, we were able to see that in the G-Shade installer code, they had a little sussy process. So process, new process, start info working directory, environment system directory, file name shutdown.exe. Okay, so basically it's the shutdown prompt on your system. It'll immediately shut down your your Windows computer and call it a day. So again, if you're caught tampering, if you will, it'll just shut your system down. No questions asked. Again, this is the very definition of malware, doing things on your computer you didn't want. Luckily, they weren't exfiltrating any data or stealing things as far as I know, but they were doing things like putting in basic malware. Why? I guess to stop... Actually, you know what? I'm not going to put words into the dev's mouth. Let's listen to the dev itself. Hello, anti-tampering code is not unusual in proprietary software. Bro, you're a fork of Reshade. Stop it. Seek help. It is impossible to trigger the code by running the Gshade installer as a normal end user in any fashion. You must call the individual functions of the app from an external third-party program designed to utilize its functions in a clandestine fashion. This was meant to be a lesson to you, specifically, about taking this approach to the problem. Anything could have been in the payload, and you'd have been responsible for distributing it to people and triggering it. Well, I put this disgusting code into the program, but you're at fault for triggering it. What? I chose a restart specifically because I wanted something that was still completely harmless, which it is, but slightly more noticeable than a quick process kill, considering it's similar to what anti-cheat software does when something particularly bad turns up. So he's right in a lot of ways when you use anti-cheat software, or you are using programs that typically try to hide themselves from being analyzed. Those programs will quickly terminate their processes. Okay, I have to like stop for a second because I know YouTube bots be triggering when I use actual genuine computer speak. But what's kind of going on in this situation is, have you ever there's a lot of software that I've looked at for virus investigations, which typically did terminate itself whenever it detected itself within virtual machines or something of that nature. So typically it was a matter of finding out what would trip that specific, flag in a piece of malware or in a piece of, computer code that you would work your way around. So what was effectively happening was if this program, this Gshade, the installer, detected any suspicious behavior on its part, it would just restart your computer. Again, very annoying things to do, and it is, again, straight up malware. Marat, I believe is the name, he should not be actually defended or anything in this capacity. This is basically all the trust you could have for your program gone and thrown out into the wind. Nobody should download a tool like this where the developer is putting stuff like this into a post-processing graphic enhancement tool, for crying out loud. So again, as part of a conflict with third parties attempting to redistribute copyright assets within Gshade without permission, an anti-tampering function was added to Gshade's installer to trigger restarts in the event that a third-party external software library utilized the installation functions without actually running it. It was not possible to trigger this function by running the Gshade installer normally. Again, we removed it and it'll never be re-implemented again. You've lost all your trust in this capacity. Any computer program caught doing this should never be trusted by anybody. It's one of the reasons why I only use Reshade. Again, it's open source, we can audit it and we can verify it before we actually launch it. Anytime I run any of these programs, which, by the way, I could never understand why anybody would use Gshade in the first place, because Reshade is already super solid enough. I guess maybe you get a bit more optimizations with this, but again, please just stick with the open source software instead, for crying out loud. Because the Final Fantasy XIV community was really pissed about this guy actually ended up getting banned from the entire Discord and Reddit communities entirely. Now, to understand, I don't know why anybody, would use a modification for a multiplayer game, First off, that's like walking into a minefield. Now, to understand, I play GT Online. I used to play some FF14 Online until I didn't really have time for it. And the thing with any multiplayer game is that typically they are loaded with anti-cheats, and there's always some level of checking that goes on. I would never, ever advise that you use Reshade, Gshade, any of these tools to inject itself into a program that is connected like a multiplayer, like an MMO or a competitive game. Because anytime, any update, any assessment, any memory check could possibly trip in your account being banned. I would never recommend it. Even the actual developers behind Final Fantasy XIV literally say the same. As updated and stated in the TOS, the use of third-party tools, that includes Reshade, Gshade, whatever, is strictly prohibited, And again, they define the third-party tools as tools that allow users to more easily complete content, so basically hacks, modifications of the UI to display additional information. That's a very loose definition, Maybe a graphical enhancement could, I don't know, maybe display some additional information visually. I don't know. Use of packet spoofing tools, obviously highly illicit. Any action or public statements that promote the use of third-party tools. Again, even the developers here don't want you necessarily using it. And they literally say right here, hacks or alterations of a program that can allow impossible things to happen. But they also say that there is a problem with an infection by viruses or spyware that steal passwords after downloading third-party tools and plugins. So again, I think the problem with this is because of the negative press this has gotten and because of the actual like drama it's caused, they might actually cause the FF14 developers to cause an even harder stance on these kind of tools, which would be a net negative for the community, but I can't blame them either. When the community is filled with absolute dunces like this that are committing actual illicit actions in regards to spreading a mod, a graphics mod, for a video game, okay? Insanity indeed. A great example is like right over here, the installer is going through, and if it detects any shady behavior, boom, restarts right there. Not exactly good behavior to have, period. It's interesting that even when I tried to look up their FAQ, by the way, page not found, they got rid of it immediately because it got so much backlash. But even inside their actual like FAQ, they literally spend more time like role-playing some weird rambly nonsense. You have come here seeking knowledge of the bad times, and knowledge you will find in the ages before G-Shade. Yeah, they're literally saying how the community was shit beforehand. Some used the latest version with only the latest shaders of Reshade 3. Others used a fork called Storm Shade, which frequently went out of sync. Others used Moogle Shade, which also suffered from texture replacement issues. Bro, they're literally spending their time bad-mouthing their competition and then also injecting straight-up malware into their system. Get the fuck out of here. There would be no answer to the cries of the community, and the solution to their peril would only come from the thanks of the great need of the group of posers who sought to load presets from many creators for their work in producing a magazine, toiling away in secret, testing, discerning the transmundane. A tool was carefully crafted. Ah, sweet Lois, a schizo thread. Stay away. When they start talking like that in the FAQ and the readme.md, you run. To uninstall G-Shade right now, if you have it installed, for instance, because you might be like, but Muda, I have this crap installed. Make sure it's installed and updated, probably the case. Download a file called Reshade from GitHub. Again, I don't even recommend you go down this way. Just completely wipe from scratch, okay? That's all I'm going to say. And of course, following these steps, you can actually like make sure your Reshade presets are backed up, and you can like actually use the open source Chad Reshade instead of this crap fest. And then I'm going to say a computer restart is not malicious. That's an odd threshold for malware. Hey buddy, malware is literally doing unintrusive things on my system, okay? A restart or shutting down my computer is in fact straight up malware. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please get rid of G-Shade if you're actually using it for any game, really. And just stick to the Chad open source Reshade. Simple as that, okay? That's pretty much what it comes down to. But yeah, this is how a developer for a popular mod absolutely killed their community within one update because they were afraid that there was going to be some downloading of those shadows. God, some of the saddest shit that I've ever seen. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go load up some Persona 5 Royale, okay? Single player, going to run some Reshade on that and just move on with my life. Anyways, this is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.